To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million.
Ooh, baby. This ain't your regular podcast drama. Shannon Sharpe, the same man y'all called Unk on Club Shay Shay, is out here trending, but it ain't for a viral hot take or them tight suits he loves to flex. Nah, baby, this man is being dragged into court with a $50 million lawsuit, and the tea? It is scalding. I hope you brought a fan and a lawyer. This is what Charlemagne had to say about this whole situation in his podcast, The Breakfast Club.
We need discipline and stability. That's I ain't talking about just Shannon. I'm just talking about all of us in general. Men need discipline and stability. Find you one woman and settle your ass down, okay?
But he was argued by his fellow co-hosts, saying there were two grown adult people involved in this situation, and we shouldn't judge about it.
I agree with you, but it's not against the law. He can as long as the person's over a certain age, it is not against the law. So legalities, that's not against the law.
I'm with you.
It just don't feel right.
Oh boy, I definitely want to know y'all thoughts about this.
Because what are the conversations like? What are the conversations? If I'm 54 and you 20.
That's what I thought about. Like, what do y'all even talk about?
I don't agree with
signs of a stroke.
But
So boom, a woman who says she met Shannon when she was just 19 has filed a lawsuit in Nevada claiming that old Hall of Fame himself raped her after months of what she calls manipulation, control, and threats. Yes, she says their relationship was rocky, but baby, it allegedly ended with her crying, screaming no, and him refusing to stop, and it wasn't just one time. Sis says it went on for almost 2 years. Oh, and she ain't whispering this either. She said Shannon was threatening to slap and choke her, and even recorded their sexual encounters without her knowing. What kind of NFL highlight reel is that, huh? Let's talk numbers real quick. She's 19, he's 56, that's a whole 3 decades and some change. This ain't no May-December romance, boo. That's January and Judgment Day. She says he used his fame, his platform, and his clout to keep her under his thumb. Like, sir, not you trying to run a relationship like it's a defensive playbook. And let's not forget, this man's got a multi-million-dollar podcast empire, millions of followers. Club Shay Shay is poppin'. But behind the scenes, he's allegedly turning his relationships into twisted power trips. Now here's where the internet almost caught fire. Shannon himself said he thinks the woman's lawyer is about to drop a 30-second clip from a sex tape. Yes, a whole tape, y'all. But instead of ducking for cover like most people would, this man said, and I quote, "Put the whole 10-minute video out." Excuse me? Who asks for a sex tape to be leaked like it's a Netflix trailer? Sir, this ain't an audition for Love and Hip Hop, Pro Bowl edition. And he says he doesn't have the footage, or he'd post it himself. Chile. That's not a flex. That's a felony in the making. If the sex tape rumors weren't enough to make your wig slide off, let's talk about the audio. Yes, baby, there's audio now. The accuser dropped a clip of Shannon cussing her out on the phone. You hear her say, "Don't manipulate me," and he responds with, "And I kid you not, say that one more time and I'ma fine choke the S out of you." Sir, you on tape threatening to choke her and you want us to believe this is just pillow talk? If that's your version of sweet nothings, I don't want none of it. His lawyer tried to clean it up like, "Oh, he didn't mean it, he was just mad." That's not how this works, boo. We heard it. And so did the jury of public opinion. Now the woman's lawyer? Phew, Tony Busby. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he repped the women accusing NFL star Deshaun Watson and also filed, then dropped, a case against Jay-Z. So Shannon is out here saying this is a setup by Busby, calling it a shakedown, and claiming this is all just a money grab. Okay. But let's not forget, Busby's cases usually make headlines for a reason. And this time, he says this woman is not backing down. Not for $50 million, not for internet slander, not for Club Shay Shay merch. She's going forward with the case, receipts, and all. Meanwhile, Shannon is doing PR on hard mode. He hopped on Instagram talking about transparency and being open and honest. Sir, you're not launching a skincare line. you're facing a whole sexual assault lawsuit. He said he's gonna defend himself. Okay, cool, do that. In court. Not on Instagram Live like this is an unboxing video for sneakers. And let's be real, if you accidentally live streamed yourself having sex to your millions of followers, like Shannon did last year, then maybe you should sit this one out. Like maybe just log off, champ. This man was supposed to be a media mogul. He's got 4 million subs. He's allegedly working on a $100 million network deal. But baby, if this lawsuit holds water, that whole empire might turn into a sandcastle at high tide. Because the thing about abuse allegations is, even if you think you're in the clear legally, the public? They got long memories, and that Instagram quote, put the whole tape out? Oh yeah, that's gonna follow him forever. Whew, I told y'all this was messy. Allegations, audio, sex tape drama, IG rants, a whole $50 million lawsuit. Shannon Sharpe may be used to Super Bowls, but baby, this scandal? This is the whole damn halftime show. Phew, now let's talk about Shannon Sharpe for a second. And I'ma keep it all the way funky, Unc. What were you even doing messing with a teenager at your big grown age of 54? I don't care if she was throwing herself at you or if she came with a glittery trap and a camera crew, sir. You're old enough to know better, and honestly, this whole "she set me up" narrative ain't hittin' when you're pushing 60 and laying up with somebody who was probably watching Frozen when you were getting your Hall of Fame jacket. Even if this turns out to be a false accusation, and that's a big if, you still gotta answer for why a man with millions, influence, and 3 Super Bowl rings thought it was cute to slide into the DMs of a barely legal woman young enough to be your granddaughter. Baby, this ain't just bad optics. It's a whole crisis in judgment, and no amount of memes, suits, or podcast clout is gonna clean that up.
I don't agree with
signs
it.
of a stroke.
But all I'm gonna say is when you see all these white people do it, Leo DiCaprio, Seinfeld, Hugh Hefner, Joaquin Phoenix, John Mayer, when they date young girls, nobody says anything. I'm not saying it's right, but it's not against the law.
But I
Now,
saw Shannon with Andrew Schultz, and he was just talking about all of the ways he avoids situations like this. I don't know if y'all saw that part of the conversation. How he don't even want to be on the elevator with a woman and stuff like that. It's the same thing with this. You know, a lack of discipline and stability can increase the chances of a situation like this happening. You 54 years old, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old.
No, you're right.
It's like, come on. If you're going to be that disciplined with everything else, you got to be disciplined all across the board.
But you know what's gonna happen now? You're gonna see more than one accuser start popping out now.
And if there's one thing we know about tea, the hotter it is, the faster it spills. If you're still clutching your pearls like I am, go ahead and hit that like button, because this case is just getting started. Subscribe for updates and drop a comment below. Do you believe this is a shakedown? Or has Uncle Shay Shay been showing his dark side for a minute? This is Tea Time with Moon, the Lux.Organ area /.